Hey everyone, Redneck Computer Geek here. We got John coming along today. We're going tractor hunting. Excuse the start of the film being lower quality. It's on the cell phone because my camera's charging. We're going off after a random sight unseen Husqvarna, or at least that's what the guy says it is. Unfortunately, I'm a sucker for old men just trying to offload tractors and things like that. Sounds like he's in a rough time. His car failed and he's trying to get his wife to work and fix the vehicle and stuff like that. So we're gonna do the good thing. We're gonna go grab a tractor, pay him 50 bucks, sight unseen. God knows what we're gonna find. All right, here we go. So this is a new one on me. I'm calling this Death by Seat Cushion. Everything works, kind of. The deck has a frozen spindle on it, but I literally have done nothing to this since I unloaded it off of the trailer. Now, if you look, this seat cushion is like this. And one thing that was noticeable was that the seat cushion was more like this. And the guy who owned it had a really bad back and a very sensitive back. And that's why he just kind of strapped this back on here rather than sitting on the metal and stuff. But what it ended up doing was it actually forced him to sit further forward on the seat. And he was a very lightweight gentleman, and it never toggled the switch. And so he would get it started, he'd let off the lever, and it would die. Now let's take 5 seconds to start it up with some weight on it. Now, just to be straightforward honest, all I've done is add gas. I offloaded it off the trailer, and here we go. So if you're listening right there, you can immediately hear the engine bog and everything within seconds of hitting that PTO. So we know that the deck is seized in some form, and if you had smell-o-vision right now, you would smell the smell of like burning tires because the belt immediately starts to toast on one of those pulleys. So at this point, it runs. It just needs the seat fixed. And we're gonna lift up the front. We're gonna see what the belt condition is, and we're gonna see what the deck condition is. The guy did totally straightforwardly, honestly, tell me that he used this thing as a bush hog and he never should have. So I'm expecting totally bent up blades. We'll see. So we're gonna take a look at this in a couple of parts. The first thing I noticed right off the bat, if you watch down in the mix down there, is definitely blown out in some form. We're gonna have to figure out whether it's snapped off or what's going on down there, but that should not move. The next thing I noticed right off is that's supposed to be wrapped around that pulley right there, and instead it's in underneath it, wedged. That's never a good sign. And then when we come around the front, we can actually see the brace. So this one, not too bad. I mean, it's a little out of kilt, but that's acceptable. This one, on the other hand, what in the world did he hit? That's got to be at least 2 inches out of kilt. So we're gonna have to beat the snot out of that one with a mallet. And he must have drove it that way for a while, because that whole entire hole there is all reamed out. And that cotter pin is all messed up. Now in underneath, what's surprising is they're both straight. They're both straight. They both don't look too bad. We've got a hole through the deck right here where he ended up obviously bending one of these and embedding it through the deck. If I could spin this around, I would show you that this currently lines up with that, but this is seized right now. The belt is actually rust welded onto both of the pulleys on either side. It's quite common. That's part of the reason why I always tell everybody to be careful when you initially turn them on. And I can feel the stud piece is still here. So that means the deck up above is rotted out, and we're gonna have to weld in a large nut up there, or we're gonna have to weld in a large washer to be able to bolt through. You can see the whole thing move. But all in all, it's actually not too bad. There's another porthole right there. We can just weld a plate over the top of that. But we're gonna drop it and see what it looks like on the top. These are the blades I'm gonna be putting on. These are Maxpowers that I've really come to like and enjoy. If you look at them next to the regular stock blades, it's amazing the difference in thickness and just quality in general. So I really love these. You should take a look at them. I'll post a link in the description for these. So we got our little welder here that we use. It's just a regular $120 welder off of Amazon. I love these. This thing is definitely my favorite purchase I've made this year. My Hobart is great, but this thing weighs like 1/3 the size, and so I tend to grab it quite often. So we got in here, we can get the light, welded up. This is where the back brace comes down through for where the pulleys are. This rusts out quite often, and this is where that blade obviously impacted, so we've sealed that. We're gonna spray all this out with air and clean it up a little bit, and then we're gonna recoat it and it'll be good to go. So there we are. As you can see, it mows quite a nice, beautiful little run. It polished straight up, nice and easily. Now this one had pitch all over the top of it, some sort of maple or popple or something like that. And unfortunately, there are situations you just can't get that out. Like with this, where it's chewed into the paint, it just is what it is and it's never going to come out. But if you coat the whole thing in simple green and leave it coated, I'll see if I can post up a photo of what the hood looked like before and then the hood now. If you coat it in simple green and scrub it down with really thick, like shop paper towels, the blue ones, and then you come back across it with the pressure washer, and then you recoat it with a tire cleaner, it'll take most of that off. I mean, there's still some little specks, but it is what it is. That's where it ate into the paint. So it's a nice machine. It's got the extended gas tank. The tires are in good condition. The deck has a couple of little rusty areas that are repainted in order to seal it up. The deck belt's in good condition. And I've got the amazing Maxpower blades on here. I really can't say enough about these blades. They just are amazing, and I use them on every single Craftsman that I rebuild that's a good quality machine like this. The Kawasaki underneath here, it ended up actually having a failed stator. I'm going to have a video up on how to replace this stator pretty soon. That'll also in the video show you where the coils are and everything else, but that video will be up later. The 300 cranking amp battery that came in it is really good. It looks as if somebody already did the air filter last year, and as you can see, the rest of the motor cleaned up really nice. Let me come around to the other side. And there we are. So it cleaned up really nice. Looks great. And if you're looking for a model number on these, it's in the back right here. We'll zoom in so you can see it. And there we go. So thanks everybody for supporting the tractor hunts. I'm sorry this video wasn't as spectacular as some other ones, but at least you learned a few things. Have a good day, keep hunting.